Hello, hello. It's Mary Kay Smooth coming in on Thanksgiving Eve. You know I'm cooking, right? Yeah, I gotta cook. I'm going to my cousin's and I have to take stuff there. And then Lori, I always cook for Lori, especially since Nana, because she goes home and they have a big family, so they have a big family dinner, and I usually cook her collard greens and mac and cheese and sometimes candy yams, and so yeah, so I'm doing all of that, and then I'm throwing a little Hispanic twist into some stuff at my cousin. So yeah, I'll be up all night. And that's why you see I'm looking tired, because Monday I missed y'all because I went food shopping, and I've been, even today, I had to go again. I forgot something. So I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. And I'm going to get it on now, you know. So here we go. School was pretty good. We had a half a day, and then I had to go to Lowe's and then to the supermarket to get a few things. I, I love the holidays, even though I missed, who, the parents. My mother was a big holiday girl. She loved to cook. I do too, but my mother and my sister, they will cook for 100 people. See, I like to keep it to a dinner party, like 10 people, and I'm happy. My mother and my sister, girl, they will go for the 100. So I always, because I like to do a lot. Well, my sister and my mother will do 4 and 5 meets too, and still do the 100 people. I I like to do that too, and I like to do sometimes different stuff. Like when my cousin George always loved pork chops. So one Thanksgiving, it almost caused a fight here, right? I did the rib roast, the ham, the turkey, and I decided to make George some pork chops. So I told him, because that's his favorite food. And so I said, George, I'm making some pork chops. So I made like 10. That was a lot, considering that I made the other meats, and I'm making stuffing and cornbread and gravy and collard greens, candy yams, mac and cheese, potato salad. I'm doing all of that, right? So my cousin comes over, and some more cousins, the one whose house I'm going to, Maurice, and his family and everything, and they laughed at the pork chops. Well, George was a slow eater. You know how some guys, they're big guys, and they eat a lot, but they eat very slow. George was a slow eater. George could always eat. From when we were younger, when my mother used to cook hamburgers for all the boys, George had the record for 22 um, double cheeseburgers with onions on hard rolls. 22 of them. And I'm talking about those patties that my mother used to get, half a cow, and they would give us half-pound patties. And George was eating 22 doubles. So he could eat. This boy could eat. So George gets, he gets in his pork chops. He said, "You do not know how good a pork chop is with some dressing and gravy." So he got that. He used to eat in shifts. So he got his first shift. And by the time George got to get a second pork chop, Maurice and them had ate up all the damn pork chop. George called him a greedy motherfucker. Oh my God. It was a mess. And that was like unorthodox to cook that for Thanksgiving, but I knew that was his favorite meat. So I used to ask everybody when I would cook, when mommy would cook, we asked everybody, what do you want? And we would just make everything. My sister, the same thing. So G- George, he was so mad at them. I laughed my ass off. Maurice used to get him all the time. If I cook in the summertime, I like to cook baby back ribs. I made 5 slabs. Maurice was eating slabs. He ate 2 by himself. George, by the time George got here, there was hardly any. Oh God, they used to go at it, but the pork chops, Maurice actually laughed. Why would anybody make pork chops for Thanksgiving and then ate them up from George? So God bless my George. He's in heaven. Probably mommy's cooking him pork chops in heaven for Thanksgiving. But tonight I'm getting, I gotta get it in. I'm cutting up collard greens. Um, I gotta um do the cheese and grate the cheese and everything. So I'm trying to get myself together, y'all, because I gotta be ready tomorrow because Lori's gonna come in the morning to get her stuff to go down to Vineland. Lori's from Vineland, New Jersey, which is south, I think considered to be southwest New Jersey. It's like 2.5, maybe 3 hours. 3 hours when I'm driving, because y'all know I'm a scary driver, right? If I don't know where I'm going. So yeah, Lori gotta go in the morning, so I gotta have a full pan of mac and cheese and a full pan of collard greens for Lori tomorrow. And then I gotta have one pan of each for Maurice's house. So we're gonna, I'm gonna get it together, but I'm gonna be up. Cooking is a mess for me. I always have fun though, because something always happens. My last my last Christmas with mommy and daddy. Oh my God, I did the same thing. I was up all night at 6 o'clock in the morning. I decided to go get on the computer and I heard this crunching noise. So I said, Daddy, what is that noise? And he said, what noise? And then all of a sudden, Daddy said, oh shit, the dog ate my teeth. Mommy said, get the blender out. I'm telling you. So I'm so used to things going haywire when you're cooking. But yes, Daddy couldn't, because the dog ate, my dogs were in the bed with Daddy, 2 of them, Nellie and Denzel Washington. And they ate his top false teeth. In fact, my mother passed away like a month later. Daddy had no top teeth. It was hysterical. We were crying, laughing. But mommy said, soon as he said, it's my teeth, mommy said, get the blender. He wanted that rib roast. So we gave Daddy blended meat on Christmas that year. But yeah, I have to laugh at those things because that's how, when I miss them, I laugh about the things that we did together because my parents was crazy. They and I had more fun with them as an adult than I did as a child because I was more mature and they could drop little chunks of knowledge on me and tell me stuff that I thought they didn't know. And my parents, they were like, like we are now for kids. Been there, did that. And they used to, oh my God, they would have me crying, telling me the stuff that I thought they didn't know that I was doing. Um, and nope, they caught every bit of it. And some of it was really, really funny. Cause mommy used to be she was in my case all the time when I was in high school. Daddy used to save me. He would stand behind her and give me the shut up. Daddy said, if you would just shut up, I could take care of it for you. Because, see, my mother knew in high school, I played basketball and I had a car. So she knew what two things could trigger me was taking the car keys or you can't go to basketball practice. Because if you didn't go to practice, you couldn't start. And I was the starting center. Um, all conference. So you know that it was important to me. And I ended up getting a college scholarship. And but my parents, I'm telling you, my father used to have to save me because I was dramatic. Well, I'm still dramatic. I couldn't, my parents let me have an opinion, but I had to have it with respect. They did allow me to express my opinion, but I had to say it correctly and in the right tone, or it was going to be a mess. My mother was going to go off. So I had to learn from Charlie how to not be so harsh with my mother, because they since I was a little kid, they did let me have opinion, but like I said, I had to say it with respect. And it worked out, but Daddy used to have to save your girl all the time, all the damn time. Because I would, my mother told me if the school calls here one more time, I'm going to kill you. I went to the utensil drawer and got a butter knife. And I told Evelyn Johnson I'd rather die than be in jail. My father had to run from his bedroom to the kitchen to save me. Because me and mommy just wasn't working. We were arguing a lot, and she was, she had to discipline me. And so, like I said, she was taking them car keys, and that could bring tears from my eyes. And she also would keep me from that damn basketball practice. But daddy worked that basketball out because daddy was the basketball man. So he he wanted me to go to practice. But mommy was a mess with me when I was in high school. And then by the time I went to college, right, my mother told me I had a brand new Camaro. Once I signed and I was getting a full scholarship, they gave me a brand new Camaro in my senior year of high school. So I'm thinking I'm taking it. I'm only 45 minutes away. I went to school in New Rochelle, New York. So I'm thinking everything's good. Well, as we get closer to going, my mother announces that I'm not going to be able to take the car. So, I was like, oh, Daddy, what am I going to do? I mean, me and my cousin Robin and another one of Robin's friends, Cricket, we only needed $2 a piece to fill the tank. Gas, it was before the energy crisis. We were around town in a yellow Rally Sport Camaro. It had a black top and a black hood, and the bottom was like taxi cab yellow with an orange stripe going through. It was fly. So I said, Daddy, I can't take my car. And he said, listen to your mother. Everything's going to be all right. So he said, just do me a favor. Don't come home. So, basketball season starts Thanksgiving. So I told her I wasn't going to come home. I was going to stay because I didn't, I had not been riding the bus or the train to school. So I did it. I listened to my father and I didn't come home. So my mother called. She was calling every day when I was in the dorm. When I walked in the dorm, everybody would turn and say, your mother called. So she was calling multiple times every day. So I didn't go home. And she called and she said, well, why don't you come home for Thanksgiving and then you can go back? And I said, well, Mommy, I don't want to take the bus. It's okay. I'll be all right. There's other girls up here. There really wasn't other girls up there for Thanksgiving. They went home. But I had a friend, Sylvia. She lived in New Rochelle. So she lived up there. And she was She was a senior, so I could go to her house if push came to shove. But you'll know, Charlie was a master and push never came to shove. So here they drove up to get me. Mommy did by herself, actually. That's how Daddy arranged it. And when it was time for me to come back, she said, just take the car. And that was it. After Thanksgiving, I had my car at college. So my father, he gave me little tidbits of knowledge of how to work that with Evelyn, and everything went smooth. When I went to college, my mother started loving me so much. It went smooth. She missed me. Nobody to argue with because my father wasn't an arguer. My father had a saying, you can't argue with someone that won't argue. So my mother missed me. She didn't have any. Charlie was quiet. He's watching TV, sports. He's eating. He's going to bed. He's working two jobs. They worked two jobs. They worked in the school in the morning and in the playground in the afternoon. So Daddy was cool as a cucumber all the time. My father was real smooth. His teaching style was very interesting because he was very smooth. Mommy was a disciplinarian, but Daddy was, he would smooth you into doing whatever it is he needed you to do. So I got my car at college, and I made friends with four girls. They were all seniors when I was a freshman, but they were like 5 foot tall, and I'm almost 6 foot tall. So they took me to the little clubs, and Mickey and Sylvia can really dance. I mean, they could win salsa and merengue and hustle contests. And if we didn't have money, we could go to the Bronx to the clubs, and they could win between $100 and $500. So when we needed money, college students do need money to have good weekends. We would go, and they would win a contest, and we would come back. And I had a car, and Nettie had a car, but Nettie had a Volkswagen that you had to push some time to start it. And I told you they were 5 foot, so you know who they wanted to push all the time. So it college was it was fun. We came home to my house a lot and got money too. But you want to laugh is that you would think we were getting money for something big. We were getting money to go to the store and buy a loaf of bread, some Oscar Mayer bologna, beef bologna, American cheese, Miracle Whip, not Hellman's, Miracle Whip, a 6 pack of Coke, and then we would buy a little bottle of rum and drink a sip of the Coke out and then pour the rum into the can because we didn't have glasses. That's what the money was for. You would think we were trying to make $1 million. And that's what we did on Saturday and Sunday at college. Now, when I had games, they all came to the games, and then we had the alumni stuff after. But yeah, and mommy and daddy would come to some games, but mommy came to a lot of games. But that's how it was, honey. It was crazy. But the holidays bring back my fond memories of the parents because my parents were quite quite a pair. We had a lot of stuff going on. We were busy kids. Me and my sister were busy kids because my parents, even though they worked on the weekends, we really went from A to Z. We went from the basketball with the guys that my father taught how to play basketball. We went to their games all over the place. Um, when Melvin was in college, we would drive to like Syracuse, Rhode Island. We drove everywhere he played when he was at Seton Hall University. And Daddy went to George, my cousin George that I talked about in the very beginning. He played probably Daddy's most famous player. Actually, no, Al Addles is. I take that back. Al Addles from the Golden State Warriors, the former GM that just passed away not long ago. And one of my dog people gave me a pin that they gave out at the first game after the new season started about Al Addles. But George played for the University of Houston when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was playing for UCLA, and John Wooden, the famous John Wooden coach, was they had an 88 game winning streak, and George was playing with Elvin Hayes, Don Chaney, the Otis Lee, and Ken Spain, I think was his name, and they snapped the 88 game winning streak of UCLA, and it was the most watched. I think it's considered to be called the game of the century. That was the most watched basketball game of all times, and Daddy was down there to watch George win. And so we had a lot of stuff going on. So that's what keeps me. I miss them a lot, but I think of all the funny things and the crazy things that my parents exposed us to, and that makes me smile again. And I do cry when it's their birthdays and all of that, but I um I laugh when I'm telling you all the funny stories. So that's how it is. So tomorrow I'll probably be sad, but today I'm not. I'm laughing because cooking is always a time when we things happened in our house. My mother was a good cook. My grandmother was a good cook. Both of them. My mother's um mother and my father's mother, but my father's mother was here in New Jersey living. So we were around my mom a lot. But so now I've just run off at the mouth, guys, and I'll see you on Friday. And we'll have something else. We'll be talking about the after effects of the Thanksgiving dinner.